Did you know that something sitting quietly in your home right now, something you've trusted for years without question, may be placing more strain on your heart than any stressful moment, any long day, or any worry you've carried through life? Most older adults have no idea that an everyday supplement, a bottle tucked neatly into a kitchen cabinet or medicine drawer, could be quietly influencing the very organ that keeps them alive. Not with dramatic pain, not with sudden warning, but with small, silent shifts inside the body that grow heavier week after week, month after month. You may have taken this vitamin for years, believing it was supporting your health, strengthening your bones, boosting your energy, or protecting your immune system. You may have heard friends talk about it with confidence, seen advertisements calling it natural and essential, or watched pharmacists place it right at eye level as if it were the safest thing you could choose. Yet beneath the reassuring labels and familiar packaging lies a truth that most seniors are never told. A truth that could explain sudden fatigue, unexpected shortness of breath, strange fluttering sensations, or that quiet fear that something in your chest just doesn't feel steady anymore. As a heart specialist who has spent decades working with older adults, I've watched this story unfold far too many times. A senior walks in confused about why their heart feels heavy, why climbing a few steps suddenly feels overwhelming, or why sleep no longer brings the relief it once did. And time again, the hidden cause wasn't stress, wasn't age, wasn't fate. It was a supplement taken with good intentions, but without understanding the delicate balance the aging heart depends on. This is why today's lesson matters. Because the danger isn't dramatic, it's quiet, it's common, and it sits in the homes of millions of older adults who trust the wrong claims and never see the warning signs until the heart is already working harder than it should. Today, I'm revealing the truth behind that hidden danger, starting with the first supplement on our list. For more than 30 decades, I've sat across from older adults who came to me with questions their bodies could no longer answer on their own. Men who were once strong and steady, now feeling a strange heaviness in their chest. Women who had walked their entire lives without fear, now pausing halfway up a staircase, wondering why their breath suddenly feels out of reach. Seniors who believed their hearts were simply getting older, unaware that something far more subtle, far more preventable had been building quietly inside them for years. In exam rooms, I've listened as patients describe symptoms that didn't quite fit the usual script. A heartbeat that feels a little too forceful one night and strangely weak the next. A wave of dizziness that appears for seconds at a time, or an exhaustion so sudden they felt as if their heart were carrying a weight it never agreed to lift. And almost every time these individuals arrived with the same expression, a look of confusion mixed with worry, because nothing they were doing seemed dangerous. They weren't taking risky drugs, they weren't changing medications, they weren't ignoring doctors' advice. They were simply taking vitamins, supplements, products sold on every shelf in America, marketed as safe, natural, even essential. But when we looked closer, when we reviewed their daily routines, their pill organizers, the bottles lined up neatly on their kitchen tables, the truth emerged. A supplement they trusted was quietly influencing their heart's rhythm, their blood pressure, their circulation, or the body's fragile internal balance. Not because the supplement was evil, but because the aging heart does not respond the way a younger heart does. And what once felt harmless at 40 can create real strain at 60, 70, or 80. I've seen patients regain energy simply by removing a single supplement. I've seen irregular heartbeats stabilize the moment a hidden stimulant or excessive dose was identified. These moments taught me something critical. The problem isn't ignorance, it's misinformation. Seniors are being handed bottles without being given the truth. That is why this message matters. Because once you understand what's happening inside your body, you can protect your heart with clarity, not fear. And you can finally see which supplements support your health and which ones silently undermine it. As I began uncovering these patterns in my patients, patterns that repeated year after year, quietly woven into the routines of seniors who genuinely believed they were doing the right thing, I realized something deeply unsettling. The very supplements meant to support older adults were, in certain situations, slowly placing weight on the heart rather than lifting it. and not in obvious, dramatic ways. No chest-clutching emergencies, no sudden collapses. Instead, the danger appeared softly, through fatigue that crept in unnoticed, breath that shortened too soon, or a heartbeat that stumbled just enough for the person to pause and wonder, why does this feel different? The reason this happens is simple yet rarely explained. As we age, the heart becomes more sensitive, the kidneys process nutrients more slowly, the nervous system reacts differently to stimulation, the arteries, after decades of service, lose some flexibility. A supplement that once caused no harm at 40 can begin to alter internal balance at 70 or 80. Yet the labels never mention this. The commercials never warn you, and the bottles never say that certain combinations or doses can quietly push your heart further than it should be pushed. This is why today we're going to walk through 5 vitamins and supplements many older adults take every single day, often with total trust, never realizing how they might be quietly asking their heart to work harder than it should. We'll count down from number 5 to number 1, and as we move closer to the top of this list, the risks become even more important to understand. Number 5, vitamin D overuse. Vitamin D is often treated like a harmless friend. Doctors mention it for bone strength, commercials praise it for healthy aging, and shelves are lined with high-dose bottles that seem perfectly safe. But in seniors, especially those taking 5,000 IU, 10,000 IU, or more every day without testing, vitamin D can begin to do something the labels never warn you about. It can quietly raise calcium levels in the blood. As the body ages, the kidneys become less efficient at handling this calcium. Over time, the excess has to go somewhere, and too often it settles in the arteries. Think of your blood vessels slowly losing their flexibility, like pipes collecting hard mineral deposits. The heart then has to push against stiffer, narrower passages. Blood pressure creeps up, the heartbeat feels heavier, and fatigue arrives sooner than it used to. Most seniors call it getting older. In reality, it may be overuse, not age. Vitamin D isn't the villain, but taking more than your body needs, especially for years, can quietly strain the heart. Number 4, vitamin E in high doses. For years, vitamin E has been marketed as a powerful antioxidant, a kind of shield against damage and aging. Many seniors added it to their routine believing it would protect their heart, not burden it. But when taken in high supplemental doses, vitamin E can change something critical: the thickness of your blood. Vitamin E naturally thins the blood. In moderate amounts, that effect might be harmless. But at higher doses, especially on top of blood thinners like warfarin, aspirin, or clopidogrel, the blood can become too thin. That means your heart is working in an environment where bleeding is easier and stability is harder to maintain. Small shifts in blood pressure, tiny internal bleeds, or unexplained bruises can send stress signals through your system. The heart may begin beating irregularly, working to compensate for a balance that no longer feels predictable. Many older adults notice dizziness, unexplained fatigue, or fluttering sensations and assume it's just age. But sometimes it's the combined effect of heart medications plus vitamin E pushing the cardiovascular system into a zone it was never meant to inhabit. Number 3, B6 and B12 overload. Vitamins B6 and B12 are often sold with promises of energy, sharper memory, and nerve support. Seniors take them for neuropathy, fatigue, even brain fog. But the problem rarely comes from one pill. It comes from accumulation. A little B6 in a multivitamin, more in a nerve formula, more in an energy supplement, and another dose in a memory booster. Before long, an older adult is taking far more than their body can comfortably manage. High doses of B6 can quietly damage peripheral nerves, leading to burning, numbness, or unsteadiness, which many seniors find terrifying. But there's something deeper. When the nerves that help control blood pressure and heart rhythm become irritated, the signals sent to the heart can become shaky and inconsistent. Standing up may cause sudden drops in pressure. Pulse rate may swing higher or lower than it should. Episodes of dizziness, racing heart, or weakness may appear out of nowhere. And almost every time, these individuals arrive with the same expression, a look of confusion mixed with worry, because nothing they were doing seemed dangerous. They weren't taking risky drugs, they weren't changing medications, they weren't ignoring doctors' advice. They were simply taking vitamins, supplements, products sold on every shelf in America, marketed as safe, natural, even essential. But when we looked closer, When we reviewed their daily routines, their pill organizers, the bottles lined up neatly on their kitchen tables, the truth emerged. A supplement they trusted was quietly influencing their heart's rhythm, their blood pressure, their circulation, or the body's fragile internal balance. Not because the supplement was evil, but because the aging heart does not respond the way a younger heart does, and what once felt harmless at 40 can create real strain at 60, 70, or 80. I've seen patients regain energy simply by removing a single supplement. I've seen irregular heartbeats stabilize the moment a hidden stimulant or excessive dose was identified. These moments taught me something critical. The problem isn't ignorance, it's misinformation. Seniors are being handed bottles without being given the truth. That is why this message matters. Because once you understand what's happening inside your body, you can protect your